Some people just seem unfair. They get the job they wanted, they pick up a new sport, and somehow become good at it. They have great relationships, they get fit, and even when they try something completely random, they somehow don't embarrass themselves. Meanwhile, you spend 10 minutes trying to open the plastic packaging on a USB cable and lose a fight with it. It starts to feel like they were born with some cheat code that the rest of us never got. But here's the thing, most of the time, they're not more talented. They're not luckier. They just believe something that changes everything. Psychologists call it self-efficacy. It's basically your belief that, I can figure this out. That sounds almost too simple to matter. But it changes how you approach every challenge, because if you believe you'll eventually work it out, you keep trying. And the longer you keep trying, the more likely you are to succeed. It's a pretty unfair advantage. The first thing these people do is fail. A lot. They apply for jobs and get rejected. They miss the game-winning shot. They burn the first pancake. Actually, maybe the first 5 pancakes. Most people treat failure like proof they're bad at something. People with high self-efficacy treat it like collecting information. Cool, that didn't work. What's next? That's it. No dramatic speech. No disappearing for 6 months because they embarrassed themselves. Just next attempt. The funny thing is, once they finally succeed, everyone says, wow, they're naturally good at that. Nobody saw attempt number 43. The second thing they do is keep promises to themselves. If they say they're going for a run, they go. If they say they'll practice guitar for 20 minutes, they practice. If they say they'll study after dinner, okay, sometimes they still end up watching 3 hours of videos about medieval swords. They're human, but overall, they do what they said they would do. And every time they keep one of those little promises, they quietly build trust with themselves. Eventually, their brain stops asking, are we really doing this today? It already knows the answer. Third, they don't skip the boring stuff. Nobody dreams about replying to emails. Nobody wakes up excited to stretch before exercising. Nobody thinks, you know what sounds fun? Reading the instruction manual? Well, almost nobody. But boring things are usually where progress lives. In sports, it's practicing the basics. In business, it's answering the messages. In fitness, it's eating well even when nobody's watching. The exciting moments are just the highlight reel. The boring moments are where the score actually gets decided. Fourth, they don't assume being bad today means they'll always be bad. This is where self-efficacy really shines. Have you ever met someone who seems to become decent at every sport they try? Golf, tennis, basketball, rock climbing. Somehow they don't look completely lost. It's tempting to think they're naturally athletic. Sometimes they are, but often they've simply built confidence from learning other skills. Their brain has learned, I figured hard things out before. I'll figure this one out too. The same thing happens with learning languages, cooking, public speaking, starting a business, making friends, even learning to dance without looking like a shopping trolley with one broken wheel. Every success becomes evidence that they can learn the next thing. That's self-efficacy. It's confidence based on experience, not ego. Fifth, they stay surprisingly calm when things go wrong. Most people ask, why is this happening to me? They ask, what's the next move? That's such a small difference, but it saves an incredible amount of energy because you don't need to solve your whole life today. You just need the next step. Sixth, they ask for help before they're desperate. This one surprises people. The most capable people are often the quickest to ask questions. They'll hire a coach, message someone who's done it before, watch tutorials, read books. They aren't trying to prove they're smart, they're trying to become smarter. There's a huge difference. Seventh, they don't wait until they feel motivated, because motivation is like your phone battery. Some days it's at 100%, some days it's somehow at 3%, even though you swear you charged it overnight. If you only act when motivation shows up, you'll spend a lot of time waiting. Successful people rely more on systems than feelings. They show up anyway. Finally, they protect their energy. They say no to things that waste their time. They leave environments that constantly drag them backwards. They spend more time around people who encourage growth than people who complain about everything. Because your environment quietly shapes what you believe is possible. And if there's one idea that connects all of this, it's self-efficacy. The belief that you can learn, you can adapt, you can recover, you can improve. That belief doesn't magically make you successful overnight, but it changes how many times you're willing to try. And in almost every area of life, sports, work, relationships, business, fitness, hobbies, or learning new skills, the person who's willing to keep trying usually beats the person who quits after the first setback. So the next time you see someone who's good at everything, don't assume they were born that way. Chances are they've simply spent years proving to themselves that they can figure things out. That's the real superpower, not talent, not luck, not perfect timing. Just a person who kept collecting small wins until their brain started expecting success instead of fearing failure. And the best part? That's something anyone can build. One small promise, one awkward attempt, one lesson, one win at a time.